My RVF is going to kick in real fast.
Hey everyone, Cody here.
Amanda.
Today we're talking about the 5 love languages, not 6, not 4, 5.
About 7.
That'd be a perfect number.
I know. So why can't there be 7?
I didn't write the book.
Okay.
Gary Chapman did.
He
Called
did.
it the 5 love languages.
There's so many versions of that book.
Oh, I know. for mixed couples, for people with parents, with people with kids,
Adopted
with
children, teenagers,
military
children,
people.
Military families.
Yeah, it's insane. That guy has really...
For singles.
You find that one niche and you just run with it. Hey, I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
I got to give him credit. But the book is actually really good. This came up today because we do premarital for couples at the church here before they get married. Premarital. So weird.
Yep.
I know, okay? I know.
No, okay.
Anyway, we recommend that book to couples, especially younger couples or people who are, have not been together for a long time.
Or have never done it.
Yeah, get to know how to fill your soon-to-be spouses or spouses love tank. So, do you want to go over what they are? Or?
I was making an inappropriate joke, but you're good.
Hey, this is for Jesus or something. You want me to do it?
You're going to think you can fill. You can take that out. I'm sorry.
I'm not taking it out.
I'm going to...
Let's try to take this in one take.
You can't leave that in there.
I'm leaving it. People who know us know we're broken and flawed people.
Oh my gosh.
We love Jesus, all right? I promise.
We love each other. I want to
Yeah,
go
we
over.
do. It's in the top one, number
Okay.
1.
So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to talk about what
Get
these
it,
are, or we're just stating them?
There's examples lower.
Oh, okay.
So we can just kind of...
So words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So words of affirmation are...
Did it not?
No, it did not.
Okay. So
All it says is explain what it is and how it can impact a marriage. Well, tell me what it is.
okay, so why don't we talk about what they are, and then we'll talk about our experience,
Okay.
and then we can talk about how it changes maybe. So, are you taking a picture of the 5?
No, I'm going to ask it to explain it to me while we're doing
can I have
this.
the initial list back,
Yeah.
and then we'll go over them. Okay, so we'll talk about the 5 individually. First is words of affirmation. So basically, it's exactly what it sounds like, just kind of encouraging your spouse, giving them kind words that will kind of lift them up, maybe help them feel bolstered. My wife at times has left notes for me, either in my lunchbox or on my desk or whatever, just saying, hey, I love you, or a verse or something, and I think that's very sweet. I throw them away, but I'm just kidding.
That's not true, because I find them in your wallet and on your desk.
So I do appreciate
as
them. Much
much as you say you throw them away, I know you keep them.
Yeah.
So it says the explanation of words of affirmation is it involves expressing affection through spoken words, praise, or appreciation, through compliments, encouraging words, and affirming statements. Oh, compliments, encouraging words, and affirming statements are essential for people with this love language. So,
wouldn't it be funny to give them like a thank you card every time they did something?
oh my
You're
gosh,
just
do you
stacking
want
up
that?
Thank you cards from your spouse.
Is that what you want?
No, I don't.
I'm totally going to give you thank you cards.
Unfortunately, I don't want to, but because you said I wasn't sentimental and I don't keep anything, I do keep cards sometimes.
Technically, you said you're not sentimental.
No, you said I was, because I don't like keep photos or like put up photos and stuff.
Maybe, but it's probably along the lines of you're a robot and not a real
That's not
person.
very nice,
So
dude. Superman.
I love you.
Okay, we're moving on. All right, next is acts of service.
Acts of service.
You want to explain it?
For those who prefer acts of service, actions speak louder than words. Doing things that you know your partner would like, such as helping with chores, running errands, or taking care of responsibilities, shows love and care. And this happens to be your love language. And I suck at doing acts of service for you. I'm better at words of affirmation than I am acts of service. So.
Next is receiving gifts.
This love language isn't about materialism, but the thoughtfulness and effort behind the gift. It's about the symbolic thought and effort someone puts into choosing a gift that shows they were thinking about you.
Oh, so, it's a thought that counts.
Yes.
So just getting something without even trying is...
Yes. So, no, but this is really important because, I'm going to just use this as an example. My suitcase that you bought me for my trip was
the Betsy Johnson
specifically Betsy Johnson, but had it been just any suitcase, I don't think it would have
meant as much.
Yeah,
Sure.
because you pay attention to the things that I enjoy and I like, and you put thought into getting that thing. So...
Well, we'll talk about the note thing, but would you say that gifts is yours?
Gifts is mine.
Okay.
Definitely mine.
Then we will touch on our individual ones after we finish the list. Next is quality time.
People with this love language feel most loved when they spend meaningful time with their partner. This means giving your partner your undivided attention, engaging in conversations, and enjoying shared activities together.
Nice. And then last is physical touch.
For some, physical touch is their primary love language. This includes hugs, kisses, holding hands, and other forms of physical connection that convey love and affection.
And it's important to distinguish that that's not necessarily sex.
No.
Sex can be part of that, but it's not a driving force for that.
Yeah.
So, like, my wife and I will hold hands, we'll hug, we'll sit next to each other. So
our arms are at least touching.
Yeah. So, and, now that we've gone through all of them, it's important to know that you might have, you'll probably encapsulate, I guess, multiple of these.
I was going to say, because I know more than one fits me.
Yeah, we all have probably all of them or most of them, but we're going to gravitate towards one. So the whole point of the love language is that everybody will probably have all of these at some level, but one thing is probably going to be the predominant thing that that fills your love tank the most. So that if you did one thing on the list, that thing would be more than all the other things. So now getting into ours, unless you had something else.
Well, and it's not necessarily once you have that, you've identified that love language, that's it for the rest of your life.
Sure.
I think we all go through seasons where you'll identify more with one than you will another.
And then more impactful.
Yeah. And then something will happen in your life and you'll just start noticing that another one is more dominant than the others. So
I think you're right.
Well, that happened to us.
That changed over time. And I don't know that it was an intentional thing, or maybe it's just a period of life. You're going through something, so something means more than something else at that time. You know what I mean?
I think it had to do with the shifting of our family. Our spiritual growth had a lot to do with the change in some of our love languages. But also the amount of effort that went into filling the tank of one, it was full. I no longer really
needed that.
Yeah, and so I needed something else because that one was so full all the time. I needed something else.
That makes sense.
So,
I guess I never thought about that being kind of the driving force for it, shifting. So if it was words of affirmation for a while because you needed, maybe you grew up in a household where that wasn't portrayed, right? Or it was very negative. So you needed words of affirmation to get to a certain point where you felt loved. And then once you kind of accepted that, you're like, okay, well, I still appreciate it, but now I don't need that as much. Now, maybe, you've reached this other level where now quality time or physical touch, now you need to work through something else. So sometimes maybe that fills you up because it needs to get you to a certain point.
Yep.
And that I think that's great. I had not considered that. Okay, so now do you want to talk about
Yeah, we can talk about ours.
specifically? So you want to do yours or you?
So it used to be when we first did the
This-
5
the
language,
assessment?
and this was like, oh my gosh.
10, 12 years ago? It was a long time ago.
I think we were in the townhouse. So Ben, he was around the time Ben was
It wasn't
born.
that long ago? Like, well, long comparatively.
13.
Yeah.
13
but,
years.
I mean, compared to all of the time we've been together.
Yeah. Because I think that's where we were living at the time that we did
Okay.
it. So around 13 years ago.
Mhm.
I think my love language at the time was quality time.
Mm.
And physical touch, because physical touch was kind of high up there. But, and I have to say this because people think, oh, your love language is physical touch, so you're okay with everyone touching you. That is not the case, because, and I've had to explain this like in therapy, physical touch with you is okay. I'm not okay with physical touch with other people,
Yeah.
including our children. Like, I'm just uncomfortable.
Sure.
It's something that I'm just trying to like work through and grow out of, but I am only comfortable holding hands with you, sitting close with you, like playing footsies with you. Like, it's only you. So physical touch with you makes sense, but physical touch with anyone else, I'm not.
I mean, and that may just be catered to some of the things you've dealt with, like,
Maybe.
but filling up your love tank. I get what you're saying. Maybe for some people, like, spending time with their kids is how they
Yep.
would love it. But from our kids, it may not be the same for the kids as it is me.
Yeah.
At least, and like you said before.
Yeah.
So now.
So it's shifted. I want to say 2020 messes me up because my time's all off. Maybe 8 years ago, it shifted. Not even. Maybe 5.
I don't even think it was 8 years ago.
So it's been more recent. It's shifted now. My love language is gifts. I have gotten more comfortable with like being okay with people getting gifts rather than me constantly trying to make everybody else happy.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know how to explain that
Sure.
without it making it sound like I'm being really prideful, and I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
I would always deny, oh, I don't need anything.
Mhm.
So something shifted and I recognized, but I do.
So this just came to mind. Do you think it was unworthiness? Like you weren't worth getting gifts?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have stepped more into like, God says I'm worthy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I remember the day that like I wrote
The whole
out
Abba's
my
child, or after
I was
the
going
Abba's
through
child.
Abba's child, yeah.
But I like that just occurred to me. Like that word unworthiness just came to mind.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that like had to do with that. Like you were like, no. I'm
Well, I
not
didn't want
worthy
to
of
say
this
that
thing.
like I deserve this,
Sure.
but I'm worth it.
Yeah.
Like it has like that's changed in the last few. I don't know when that shifted.
That I think.
I think it was like 2019. So 5 years ago is when it started to change, and it's weird for me because receiving gifts, I was like my lowest love language when we had done it in the past, because I had never considered that even. I didn't care if I received gifts.
Yeah.
So, and now it's like, no, I'm good. I do want gifts.
Yeah.
So
Now you're just making up for lost time.
I guess I am.
Yeah, I know what I want for Mother's Day.
You know what? I said that you did not have to do anything for 5 years, and you guys still plan things,
I
but
even
you
told the
love
kids
that cat so much.
Dude, Destiny sent me another picture of a kitten. And I was like, no. The last kitten was for 5 years.
Oh yeah,
said
because
no.
she wanted to get me one for Mother's
Yeah,
Day.
I told her no. I was like,
Yeah,
nope.
I had
She
to
said
delete
5 years. I'm still going to get her a gift, but it ain't a cat.
I had to delete it off my phone because I kept going back and looking at it. It was
no.
so cute.
Okay, so I guess I'll do mine now.
Yeah, what were yours?
So you said that you think that mine was kind of words of affirmation before?
It used to be.
Remember.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you giving me words of affirmation and telling me things and stuff like that.
But it was
I just
because we
always
did
thought
it.
it was service. And
No.
maybe it was, and maybe I just didn't recognize it because I feel like service is big to me. Like I feel like serving, like we should be serving in the church, we should be serving others. So service is huge to me.
But I feel like that was your shift.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it was words of affirmation. But it was because, and this is when we did it at the time, you were a stay-at-home dad.
Sure.
And so you dealt with the whole, you weren't contributing to the family, like you weren't.
That's true.
You weren't making a difference. And so I would use my words to make you feel like you were. Yeah. And
That's
so
true.
at the time when we did this originally, words of affirmation was really high on your list. But acts of service has always been up there. So it was like those were your top two. But because
I feel
it's so easy for me to give those words of affirmation, it's shifted to acts of service.
I think also I don't feel like I'm dealing with a lot of the identity stuff I have in the past.
Yeah.
It comes and goes, right? But I think you hit the nail on the head at the beginning of the video, saying that
when
it probably changes, like over time due to circumstances. Maybe you reach a point where it's not as needed. Maybe you're going through a season that is challenging where you need a certain type of, bolster to help get you through that season. So I think it's important to remember that, everything that anytime you take an assessment, it's a snapshot. And we talk about this in premarital. We talk about this with those personality tests that I hate so much. Like that, it's all a snapshot because you could take the assessment again later on and score differently. So it's important to just think of any assessment like that as a snapshot of where you are right now. Doesn't mean you're always going to be that way. And maybe it's not 100% accurate, but it just gives you an idea. So I think now for me, like I just really value service, like both in myself, but in others as well. So like the kids serving here at church, that makes me feel like we're doing something right as parents because we're showing them like, hey, we as Christians are supposed to sacrifice for other people. So it means a lot to me to serve. So for other people to serve me, it means a lot because it's like, I guess I just value that.
Yeah.
So and that means more. And I think the key thing to point out about the 5 love languages is that it's not that those things are wrong if someone else is doing the wrong thing. It's just that one love language just will fill you up more than those other things would. So if my wife's thing is gifts, I could serve her and she'll appreciate that, but a gift would just mean that much more. Like it has like more exponential return for how much it fills her tank. So
when I feel like the reason quality time has shifted from being my primary one is you're really good at being intentional with our quality time. So much that it's like a regular thing for us. Yeah. So I don't crave it. Like that's a tank that you constantly keep filled for me.
So it's not a need.
Yeah.
It's already kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, and I want to make sure that we say that like, if you don't know what your love languages are, it's easy to treat others the way that you would want to be treated. So if your love language is gifts, you're going to want to give gifts all the time
do that
because that's
without knowing what theirs is. Yeah. And you're probably right because I think maybe sometimes in a way we try to, like if we're not getting that thing, but that's what we value, we will kind of project it onto other people and overcompensate because we're not getting it. We think that other people are probably not getting it too.
Yeah.
So then we try to do that instead of knowing like, it's not that it doesn't mean anything to them, but it's not filling their tank because we don't know what their love language is. So this is why we really heavily emphasize like all couples read 5 love languages. It's a really good book and it's really eye-opening to understanding how to help lift up your significant other, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you saying?
It also, we were talking about today about unspoken expectations. So if I if my love language is quality time, and I'll use that one because it was mine for so long, and I expect you to give me that quality time, but we don't discuss I need that, I'm going to be highly disappointed. My tank will never get filled. Not that it won't ever get filled, but it's like I'm always running at a lower level than it being full.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about, hey, this is really important to me. So once we get those expectations out there and we discuss them and we say, hey, I really enjoy when we spend time together like this. Like, I need more. Can we plan more of this?
Yeah.
And because we had that conversation early on and we talk about dating our spouse and how important that is, you've been able to fill that tank so much. Again, it's one that's just constantly filled. So, and when I start reaching a depletion of it, you're kind of quick to notice, like, we need to spend time together.